Hey, welcome to my podcast. I'm Manina, and you are listening to an episode of Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast. Hey y'all, welcome back to Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast. Today I have a special guest, Tanisha Shanee. She is also known by Miss Inspiration. She's an inspirational speaker, a lifestyle strategist, and author. Tanisha, thank you for joining me on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Me and Tanisha go way back. We went to college together. I went there and I had left real quick to go to the store, and then I had never came back, and then she's there.
Okay.
So, but I had to go shopping, and then I had got lost, and then that's what happened.
The train stopped.
We have history go back, and I'm super excited for y'all to just get to know her on the inspiration tip. So we're going to talk about aligning your life with purpose. And it was really important for her to talk about this. So, Tanisha, what does aligning your life with purpose mean to you?
For me, aligning my life with purpose basically means everything that I do, I have to have purpose behind it. So from, yes, we wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning, that's purpose. That means that I have another day to accomplish whatever it is that I need to accomplish for that day. So if I'm speaking, it has to be with purpose. I'm dating, purpose. That's another talk. My business, like everything just has to be in alignment. And for me, that's become like second nature. I don't do things just because. I don't do things to follow the trend. If I know that that's not what I'm supposed to do, if it's like clear and loud and clear, like, no, you're not supposed to be doing that, that's not within your calling, then I won't do it. I allow the people that's supposed to do it to do that part. You know what I'm saying? I think that's one of the hardest parts with us. We do things because it's the fad. Like, oh my gosh, like everyone is selling this, I need to sell this. But if you're not purposed to do it, no matter how great your plan is, it's not going to work out for you because you're not supposed to be doing it. So that's how I live my life, and that's how I encourage others to live their lives. And until I leave this earth, I hope that every time that I open my mouth, that someone realizes, like, I need to do something, and everything that I do after this day has to be with purpose.
I like that. It's important to be intentional, man. If you're not intentional, you're done for. Okay? I'm telling you now. If you're not intentional about everything you do, you are done for. If you are brushing your teeth and you're not intentional about getting that tongue, y'all don't brush your tongue.
That's the truth.
Who your mama was.
And then it'd be the people that be taking the picture with their tongue out. We need not to do that. I'm just saying, no judgment, but
leave it to Megan.
I need her.
Correct, but I'm sure she's brushing her tongue.
Exactly.
She made that thing, so I'm sure she at least is brushing her tongue. But what I'm saying is, if you're gonna do something, be intentional about doing it properly.
Yeah.
Pull out and for a reason.
Yeah.
I know that some people get held up on being a perfectionist, though, and they just won't even try. That's not what living with purpose. Living your life with purpose is really saying, this is what I want to do because of this.
Yeah.
That's, get started, but don't just fly with the wind and just do anything because it's available to you. That's not the way to do it. It's like the TikTok dances. Grandma, that was not for you. Big Mom, it wasn't for you.
No comment, I haven't done a TikTok dance, so
you and I both.
I have not tried because it's not in the purpose.
I'm no Big Mom, but what I'm saying is I'm on my way. I'm closer to Big Mom than I am to baby girl, so I could let that go. It's okay. Because all of those, I don't.
I mean,
I was barely doing a Harlem Shake, and that was my time. So anyway, so Tanisha, how did you become Miss Inspiration? What's the
so
backstory to that?
definitely did not seek to be Miss Inspiration. I've never honestly, and I know other people that know me will watch this and be like, she's lying. But I actually like to be in the back. Like, I try to be as invisible as possible. But I also understand that when it comes with purpose, sometimes God doesn't do that. He's like, no, you're going to speak today. You're going to say something because I need for you to speak. And so my purpose walk, Miss Inspiration, was really birthed after I started my health journey back in 2012. And when I'm thinking, I'm just losing weight, getting healthy for me, it actually was a doorway for other people. So as I started to share on social media, other people were reaching out to me. And I mean, this was like after me only losing like 25 pounds. And people were like, oh my gosh, like you're such an inspiration. I'm just like, okay. And then I just kept on, I was just like, oh, still like mad, like mad big. But for whatever reason, I guess, I remember someone saying to me, they was like, because you're so, like, you're not over exaggerating, like, you're just being raw and truthful about the process. You're like, it's hard some days. I don't want to drink water. Like, that was the reality. And so the more that I kept speaking, I kept sharing, more things started to build. So at first I thought I was going to be this health coach. And God was like, no. He was like, that was the activation that brought me to the alignment. But then the more that I got closer to God and I started to listen, then he started to speak to me about other things. And I'm just like, pouring into me about, helping other people and, helping them to overcome their challenges and bringing them closer to him. A lot of times I realized, like someone said to me the other week, other month, she said, what's your speaking specialty? I said, honestly, I don't have a speaking specialty. I said, God tells me that it's an alignment, that you need to go and speak. That means that he's sending me on an assignment. Now, when I open my mouth, I can't guarantee you what exactly I'm going to talk about because I've had speeches prepared, and the next thing you know, God was like, no, go all the way left. And you're like, and then bam, something would happen. That one person that needs it, it was just like, oh, that's why I was here today. Cool, not a problem. I don't get attached to the assignment. And so the more I just kept speaking, someone else was like, yo, you're Miss Inspiration. And I was just like, and I just kept hearing it. So I was just like, I'm Miss Inspiration. So I just accepted. And, my teaching, my students, there's days that, I'm a college professor as well. And my students are like, oh my gosh, Miss, you're inspiration to me. I'm like, this is just like following me everywhere I go. So I just accept that. And I'm just like, I'm Miss Inspiration. And, my books, that's God just pours into me and I'll fight with the topic because it's a topic that I don't necessarily want. Like the book, I actually have it right here. But this book here, I wrote this book, Dear Single in Love, 8 Principles for the Woman Waiting for Her God Ordained Purpose Me. This book was given to me like, I gotta tell you what, you see this book?
Oh, I need that. I need that.
I'm doing like a special group. It was actually dropped on my spirit today. I'm actually doing a special group for this book, starting the first week of November, because it was just like women out there need this, and I fought with this book. They know about this guy, like they know it. They need to be waiting, and he's like, who you dealing with in the world down here, And I sat on this book for 2 years, and then it was just like, gotta put it out, gotta push it out, and I know that it's helping people. And I want to be able to help more because my journey, what God just channels through me, I just want to be able to, so that I can apply it and then that other people can apply it so that we all can just get in purpose. And, purpose, purpose, purpose. People who hate when I start talking about purpose, they be like, here she go. But I'm like, but we have to be intentional about everything. And the biggest part of life that we tend to not do things in purpose is our careers and our relationships. Those are 2 fields that we tend to. That's why when I coach, most of my clients, they're like, I just picked this job because they were the only ones that called me back. And you're just like, okay. And you're just like, well, I picked this guy or this girl because they like me. Okay.
You like, oh, that makes me cringe when I hear people say that. Like the one that likes you, like the one back that likes you. Like, do you know what kind of people be liking me sometimes? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah.
The drunk man down the block can tell me he's gonna marry me every time he see me.
Exactly. And he'll be the one that would like love you the most, but is that person supposed to be, you know? And I, you know, I'm always telling people that I remember like 2 years ago, I met this guy. And he really, really liked me. He's a nice guy, but I was like, you're not my person. Like, I pray on it. God said no. I don't think I even had to pray. It was just like I already knew. And the reason why, because when we started listening, this person just wanted a wife, but he was not ready to be a husband, right? And I was like, sir, before you become a husband, you have to know how to take care of you. And you don't know how to pay rent because you never paid rent anywhere. So I'm like, you know, so it's those small principles that I don't even have to tap into God yet, because what God told me a long time ago about what my husband was going to be, well, you don't match that, you know. And I try to tell other women, you know, well, he looks good. Sis, looks don't really matter anymore. Like God works on the heart. He works on character. He not working on big body, nice smile. You know, that's not the person.
Beard game. First of all,
you said beard game. Oh
yes. Why, sir?
Yeah. I mean,
why do you have to be a grizzly bear, sir? Is it okay if you have a goatee?
Some of them can rock it. Some of them, it looks nice, but it's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone.
But yeah. So that's how
I don't have anything against beards. I'm just saying that there are women who are beard gang lovers.
Yep.
And just because you have a beard, now she's needs you to be her man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lady, no.
They don't care if you're gonna treat them right. They just look at, and honestly, I always talk about that, because the one thing, I always talk about the book of Ruth. If you would notice when you read the book of Ruth, they never describe Boaz. Like, it's never like he's tall, he's chiseled. Like, you kind of get this, you build your own description based off of as you're reading. There's never a description of like how he physically looks, and is he tall? Is he like, we don't really.
You didn't think he was handsome, right?
I think they might have mentioned that. Depending on which version you read, which is another thing.
Yes, you the Message version, they be like, cause Boaz came in the room and Ruth was like, damn.
Yo, Lord, we don't forget, fuck.
No, the Message version be giving it to you raw.
But every extra thing, like, I ain't never read this before.
Because what had happened was like, no, come on now, y'all know what had happened was not. Whoa.
So it's like, so I always tell anyone, when I start talking about this, and I have friends that are still like, you gotta be light skinned, and I'm like, girl, bye. I'm like, your husband's gonna be like as this. No, he's not, and you're like,
yellow.
Not that serious. Like, you're giving up on a guy because he's dark skinned. That's something that I always say, like, I think a lot of times we do miss out on that purpose mate, because we're so stuck on the physical. And social media does that for everyone now. And that's the sad part.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was one thing that I heard, don't remember right here, because I listen to a lot of, do my best to listen to a lot of motivational and inspirational messages and things like that. So I think I heard somebody one day talking about partnership and a lot of people, submission. And she said an elder in her life told her a lot of people misquote it and say help mate, but it says help meet, meaning you meet each other. So submission isn't about you being his number two. It's about meeting each other and working together and progressing in life together under God's, I want to say tutelage, but yes, under God, under God's guidance. But to meet somebody means you have to be equally yoked, same playing field, all of those things. And that can be for friends, co-workers, like you said, go to work with people who are like-minded. I think we spend so many hours with people at work that they really influence our thinking on ourselves, and that's why you can turn around and look up and you've been working at a job for 5 years that you thought you were going to only be there for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just an interim job, and then something I'm going to move on, and then you'd be like, oh, 5-year anniversary here. How did I do that? Because your thought patterns will change by the people who are around you.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely, and that definitely happens a lot. I even tell people, I think that's one of the reasons why they actually, I used to teach career development, and they actually took me away from teaching that class because I was pushing the students to find jobs that were in alignment with their purpose. So we actually, one of the assignments was writing your vision statement, and when you're writing that vision statement, you're able to now identify. So now you kind of have your own blueprint as to, is this company in alignment of me? And if they're not in alignment of who I am, then there's no need for me to work here. And they didn't like that. They were like, no, we need them to get a job. And I'm like, but we want them to get a job that they can get, but then they can actually keep and they can actually grow. And, I know that my thought patterns are they're not traditional because they need numbers. Right, so we need numbers because funding is attached to that, and you're telling them to find a job that's based upon their purpose and their vision statements. We don't have time for that, but I stand true to that because I feel as though that's where so many people become depressed. They're bitter. They're angry. They're pouring all this into a company that they don't even like. They don't believe in the product. They don't believe in whatever they're selling. Just for $1. And that's how we end up. That's the reason why most people never even get to purpose. Because once they leave work, they come home, they drink, they're done, they're tapped out. They start drinking, they go to sleep, they eat. They don't have time for space for God to speak to them to say, this is what I need you to do.
There's a big thing with that. There's a certain job, a type of job, when you live in the city, and I'm not going to name it because there's so many people who work those jobs, but sometimes people will tell their kids, like, go do this job because it's going to be a smooth ride, basically, and you're going to be able to come out of it, with these things lined up for you. But you see these people, and after work, they drink the most. They meet up to drink, or they stay around each other after work and drink, and then come home, and that's just their life.
Yep.
And their schedule is not their own. That's just their life, and they're not living in their purpose. They do end up making a good living, Well, I shouldn't even say living. They make a good living because that's what that is. They may not be wealthy unless they do something else outside of that job after work, if they can find themselves to do that. But yeah, there's a lot of jobs where it's so crazy that you said that. That's a part of their life, and they lose their purpose. Yeah. It's so true. So what's some tips on how to get in touch with your purpose?
So the first thing is, because purpose comes from God, we have to speak to God about it. And I always, encourage people. Sometimes we need to just, find a quiet space in your house and pray. If you have a spirit closet that has, you can, in New York City, most people don't have closets. But if you do have one, get into the closet. Like, go into the closet, sit in there, and just, talk to God. Sometimes you just got to kind of like pour out what you're unhappy about your life. And then he can start to replenish you with the things that he has for your life. And then start connecting with like-minded people. Like you said, you like to listen to motivational, inspirational messages. I used to actually, on my old phone, I actually had downloaded it was like clips that I was finding, maybe like 5-minute clips. Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, there was a clip from Jim Carrey. I had all these celebrities who were just speaking about purpose and life and getting through those tough moments. Eric Thomas, and I was just listening. I used to go on the train, and I'm just listening, to these clips, and I'm like, I just got to get to that point because I knew that I spent most of my life, and I never understood why, but I always from a little girl, I spent my life trying to find it, right? Mm-hmm. So a larger part of my life, I was depressed from a little girl because I was never satisfied. I knew that there was something missing. I thought it was my father. I thought it was, my mom being at our second job. But it was because from a little girl, I was looking for a purpose. I was looking for this person. And when I realized, that I was that person, it was just like, that's what I was looking for. Like, dang, she was sitting here all these years. But, you know, so for me, it was just like, now, because I'm listening, it was just like, that's what you've been looking for this from a little girl. And I got that from listening to those messages and just hearing them. And sometimes I was listening to the same messages, but it's okay. Like, you can hear the same message over and over, and you still won't get the aha moment until like the 20th time. So if you listen to the same thing, if you got to listen to this podcast, this one episode 20 times, it might not be until the 20th time that you're like, I got it. That's what she was saying, right? Yeah. That's how. And then the third thing is, you got to start stepping out your comfort zone and stop speaking to the people that you normally speak to. Because if, we all have those friends that we've had for a long time, but you're moving, you're elevating, they're still down there. It's no shade. I love them. But my everyday conversations, my conversations about business, my conversations about purpose, my conversations about books, my conversations about what God is telling me is with two people. I speak to those two people either through text, we on the phone, and it's not about, you heard what Nicki Minaj said, you heard what this. No, we talking about, so what's going on with your business thing? So did you promote that book? And you said that you want to do, I saw the video, you said you want to do a coaching, so I want to be down, where can I, like, those are the conversations. So you have to start switching up who you're speaking to and who's speaking life into you, because until that, you're gonna just keep getting lost with everyone else. And you're not going to think about purpose because you all having a party. And I hope that, and I know that because we just came out of like straight lockdown, I'm hoping that people use that time, that quiet space, to hear from God. I know everyone didn't, but I think a lot of people did, because we started to see birthing of different things happening. Podcasts was coming out. We had blogs. You saw, we were talking about TikTok earlier. There were some people, but they used that TikTok with a purpose, right? Yes. They were advertising. They were giving out tips on credit, how to restore your credit, how to talk to collections. They were using it with purpose. So everything wasn't fully lost on TikTok and Instagram.
Yes.
But, I was sitting on TikTok and I'm listening, right? And I'm looking at those types of videos. I'm looking at the videos, like this one creator, she's hilarious. She does like the conversations of like the woman who's waiting for her husband, talking to God. Hilarious. But it was like such confirmation of this book, because I gotta find her. I haven't been on TikTok in a while because I've been in Purpose. But I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh my gosh, like, God, you were saying that in the book. And it was just like confirmation. So when you're around that, it's going to just motivate you to just start seeking it for yourself, even if you don't know what it is yet. And I tell most people, usually you're already operating in purpose. You just don't know that it's your purpose. So I was teaching before I knew it was my purpose. I was speaking before I knew it was my purpose. I was writing before I knew it was my purpose. It was just all coming together. And it was like, this is what you're going to speak. It's what you're speaking, what you're writing. And, is what you're teaching. That's where it becomes in a purpose. I could teach anything that's not purpose. But then when God said this exact way, that's purpose. So a lot of people are already doing it. They just don't know, because they're just saying, I just do this. And they water it down as if it's nothing, but it's the biggest thing that God needs for you to do.
That's it. I know for me personally, healing and caring for others in different ways too is my purpose, and I knew it as a young child because I placed it in when I was young. I don't even, from as long as I can remember, I told my mom and my dad I want to be a pediatrician because I want to make babies better, right? I want to make babies be healthy. And I want to make them feel better. And then I always had a desire to be a mother and a wife and all those things. But my mother got sick and I was 8 years old, right? And she had cancer and she had the chemo and all those things. And the first bout of it because it came back. But she went to remission and came back. But the first bout of it, she kind of pushed through on her own. It wasn't, so crazy. The chemo was bad, but, she went to remission. But when it came back with a vengeance, right? So it was then in her bones and things like that. So it was tough. It broke her body down and everything. But there was just something in me that was like, not about saving a person, but about caring for a person. And no matter what happens, I want to be the one to take care of you, to bring you comfort. And there was times when my mom, she just would get stuck trying to get off the side of the bed, and I just, or get up on the bed, and she'd say, "Oh, go call your dad, go call your dad." And I'm 12 years old, and my mother had gained so much weight and held in so much water. She was really heavy, and I just would pick her legs up and put her on the bed. She'd be like, "No, no, no, no. Okay, all right, well, I'm here." And she's like, "You so but to me, I just need to take care of her.
Yeah,
that's all. I wanted her to be okay. You stuck in the bed with half your butt cheek on the bed. You really think I'm leaving the room by yourself, Mom? No. What I'm gonna do is pick you up, okay?" And it was just in me. It's just innate. My dad just had a sickness in the beginning of this year, and like he had surgery, and he came home from surgery, and the first week is just making sure you're good. You can't move too much. He had surgery. And he wake up in the middle of the night. I stayed where he was, and he was in this little area here, and I was right here on the on the couch. And he moved. He tried to sit up. I'll be like, "Whoop!" Pop right up. You all right? Out of my sleep. So it's in me. It's a part of me. I know that's my purpose. I'm moving towards getting to physical therapy, doctor physical therapy program. Once I so I know that the bottom line is I feel that God gave me a purpose of being part of his healers, in whatever way it is, comforters, healers, because we all have our purpose, and I know I'm one of those people. I could do anything with my hands. I'm going to make it good, I put my hands in your hair, and I started doing your hair. After a couple months, let's go from here to here. And it's not, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just touching it. I'm just caring for it, So we have our purpose. Like you said, we have our purpose from youth, from younger. I was able to do that. And I think when I really realized it was one summer. I had to be about 15, 16. And we went to this weekend retreat with some after school people, I think. And it was a girl that people kept teasing her. She was born with something that disfigured her face, right? And a couple of girls kept teasing her, and she just broke down crying. And I was like, "Y'all are whack. Y'all are whack. Like, who are y'all to treat somebody that way?" And I just told her in front of everybody, like, "You're beautiful. You're the most beautiful person here because you actually have insides of love. Like, you would never treat anybody like that. This is disgusting. They act like they don't even have parents. And you would never treat anybody like that, and you would have reason to be angry or whatever it is, because you can't change anything that happened to you, but you're the most nice person. You're the most beautiful person I know in this whole place." And I don't know where that came from. I wasn't that person. I wasn't a talker. I didn't talk to people. I didn't speak life. Sure didn't. I didn't speak life into people in that kind of way. I know if I have one-on-one, I'm never going to talk down to somebody. I'm always going to do what I can to make them feel good.
Exactly.
But I did it in front of the girl. I was like, "Yo, whack. Like, you did what? Somebody else bother you? Let me tell you something. You tell me. I'm smacking." That a whole Harlem came out of me. I'm smacking. I'm gonna smack you with an H in it. I will smack you. You feel me?
I think that's something, and it's funny that you said that, because a lot of times, it's usually when we always that whenever I hear stories like that, is usually I'm not usually like I don't usually say anything, but then it's just like that's the God in you, because God is like, "I'm gonna come right now. I'm gonna show up right now. I'm gonna shock you. I'm gonna shock everybody else around you." And then you add the little extra sass that's you. I'm gonna smack you. That's you.
Yeah,
that's
not the H. Yeah. Everybody after that, everybody wrote her apology. Everybody who's making fun of her, everybody went in the thing and wrote her little apology note. And we had little pockets or whatever. We were supposed to leave notes for people every day, and it was so many notes in her thing that day. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't know I could. I didn't mean to do it that way. I just was following, different things. And even the counselor was like, "Oh, you got a lot of letters," But it was just I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that. That wasn't me. That was like, it's crazy that you said that. It's like God. It's like, there's a story in the Bible when Jesus told him, if I gotta come back here, y'all acting up in this temple, I will tear this place up. That's the Message version. He came back in the temple. He came back in the temple. He saw the whip over there in the corner. He said, now see, I done told y'all, I tear it up. He was throwing chairs and tables everywhere. Now that was really in the Bible. That was in NIV too. But it was like that. It's like, when you see injustice, when you see God being treated like that, you can't play. I don't play that. You don't do that.
No, we need that. We need people that's going to stand up, that's going to sit there and say something, that's going to care, because it's easier to follow the crowd, but then it's hard to stand by yourself and to have that kind of power. That's just power, and you gain that power by saying, I'm not doing what everyone else is doing. That's why I always tell people, that's why I say at most jobs, I'm usually that person that I'm just like, no, that doesn't make sense. Stupid. It's dumb. And they're like, well, Miss Williams. I'm like, no. But, that's just because, again, I hear things, what I'm saying? I also have the prophetic gift, which I'm not thrilled about. But, it is what it is. But when I hear things, and it's like when God just would like, speak. I'm just like, but no, I don't want to. And I remember the first time that I ever spoke was like my first speaking engagement. I was in 6th grade at my graduation. And I remember, like, one, the principal thought my mother wrote my speech. That's how insulting it was. And then 2, like, it was insulting. She just didn't like me. I didn't understand why. I was just like this quiet kid, didn't say much. But she was like, next time, make sure that, it would be better if she wrote the speech, not you. My mother was like, but she did. She didn't believe it. And then, like, there were parents in there crying. I don't think my classmates got it, but their parents, they got it. And I remember them, like, with tears in their eyes. And I'm just sitting there. And I think that's always something about me as well as a speaker. Because sometimes I'll just say stuff, and I'm not moved personally, but they're moved. And I'm just like, why are these people crying in here? Like,
right, are you okay? Did y'all go through?
What am I saying that's so profound today? Right. And that's why I think sometimes I don't want to speak, because I don't know what's going to happen. And it's funny that we're talking about this, because it took me back to a speech that I did the last election, right? I was asked to speak about, health. Again, this is what she was like, you're going to talk about health, girl. That conversation went totally left. And it was still stuck on health, but I was like, I said something to the effect, like, if you don't take care of your diabetes, your high blood pressure, he's gonna smack you to get your attention. And, like, literally when I said that, a lady passed out. And so I'm standing and I'm like this. I swear I did not do that. And they were like, she passed out. Like, my ex, he's the videographer, so he's there recording, and, like, you just see him, like, pan to the right, and, like, she's passed out. They had to call 911, and I'm just like, so what do I do now? So I was just like, I'm gonna just go sit down. No one wanted to speak to me, and come to find out, she was a diabetic, and she was not taking her medication. And so somebody said after she left, they was like, well, I guess God got her attention today, and I was like, I think I'm gonna just go home. I'm just like, gotta go. I'm gonna just exit, because at this point, the past few, like, so I was just like, and I remember that same woman called me, like, the following year. I was like, I'm good. She was like, no. I was like, nah, I'm good. Last time I showed up, people hit the floor. Out. I was like, she was like, but no, and she spoke life into me. She was like, no, that's just the power that's in you. Like, God's gonna sing you, and only you can say that particular message at that appointed time. And it got her attention. And she was like, but she said the kicker was when you said God's gonna smack you. She was like, I felt like God just smacked her out the chair, and I was like, so
listen, we all get it. We all get that smack. Once in our life, we all get that smack. For real. There is nobody in this world who has not gotten that smack. We all get it, no matter who we think we are, no matter how much of a victim we think we are, because everybody has victim mentality in them. During their immature years, if that ever ends, that's something different. But during the years of immaturity, you have that victim mentality, and you get smacked, and then you realize, oh, it's not even about me. You right, God. What you do good? No, I'm okay. I'm not a victim. Nope. I'm good. I got the victory in you, Lord. Just tell me what to do. That smack me like, I said.
Exactly. And it's like, and so that actually was helpful for me, because like I said, for a while, I just shut up. Like, I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to be Miss Inspiration, because it was just like, I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, if these kind of things are happening, if I continue, what's going to continue to happen? But then, after life happened, and then I started to realize, like, I had people that you ever had like someone that you didn't even know was watching you, and they're watching you, right? And like the other week, we ran to my mother's old coworker and kind of found out like she's watching my YouTube channel, and she's like, "Baby girl, don't you keep talking? You keep telling what God said to tell. I be trying to keep a comment, but I don't know nothing about that YouTube." And I was like, "Just keep watching the video. Just keep watching."
My mom's family, some of them, they're like sending messages through one of the people who one of my cousins who I am in touch with, and they're like, come on now, you gonna bring up my mama? I'm be like, what you said? You look like her. She would be proud of you. She, and then they told me she used to be part of some kind of group that was big on helping the community. So I was like,
really? See
what? So it's awesome when you get those people that come to you and be like, I'm watching and keep doing it. You're doing a great job. You're awesome. You're this, you're that. Because you could really talk yourself out of it.
Yeah. I know I have. I've talked myself out of, after my second miscarriage, I definitely shut down. I used to do a radio show on WHCR up in Harlem. I actually had stopped because I just wanted to be Tanisha. I didn't want to be Miss Inspiration. The only reason why I didn't take down like my social media, because I was like, at least let it still be there, because whatever's there, it can still help someone. I just didn't feel the need to put out new content. And then when I had to start healing from that situation and start understanding, like, it was a process. He took me through that entire journey because, one, I was disobedient about something. He told me to stop doing something. I didn't listen. And then he was just showing me, like, you do hear me, because people were challenging me, like, you don't hear God. You don't hear God. And, like, that whole story was like, no, God said go. And if I didn't go when he said go, I wouldn't be here, because even a surgeon who was Jewish was like, I'm glad we prayed to your God. And I was just like, my God. I was like, my head is only one God. But, whatever. We'll talk about that. But, that's just a testimony for, at least for me. And when I share that and I tell people, I'm like, your calling is not going to leave you. Your purpose is not leaving. I feel like it's just like, sometimes I feel like during that time, I could just feel like God was just sitting there like, oh, I'm going to wait. And he'll send random people were just calling me, do you still coach? I was like, no. And they were like, but you sure you don't coach anymore? And I'm going to be like, no. And I could just feel God being like, but you want to coach them. And next thing you know, I'm coaching them and I'm not getting paid for it. So he was like, I was trying to, help you get paid, but you didn't want to coach. So I made it happen so that you're still helping them, but in not the official capacity. That's why I just say, I'm just going to be whoever God made me to be. Whoever don't like it, I can't help that. I'll just continue to pray for them. And then when it gets uncomfortable for me, it's just a challenge to just keep moving forward. And that's the space, that's the season I'm in. I'm in that season of it's uncomfortable. I'm not liking it, but right now I'm recalibrating so that I can continue for the latter part of this year until whatever he's doing for 2021.
There are times where we have to take a break. Sometimes we end up being hard on ourselves, like, oh, I quit. I could have been doing this 2 years ahead of where I am because I quit. No, sometimes we have to take that break and learn some more and understand what this responsibility really is. I always think back to losing my twins. It's so crazy. I was walking yesterday and I was like, what was I doing with 2 whole kids right now? Like 2 whole 10-year-olds. What was I gonna do with them right now? I know. Yeah. 2011.
Wow.
Yeah. What was I gonna do with 2 whole, yep, 10-year-olds? Or what? I know a lot of people are doing it right now. But what are they doing with with a whole kid right now? Like, they are struggling, and I'm not having like the hardest part. I'm struggling. I ain't got no pets. I ain't even got a pet. I got plants. My plants is in here struggling. Okay, my basil is on the end. It's at the end of the road. My poor basil. Oh, but anyway.
Help us, Lord.
I just want my plants to live, Lord. I just want to do right by these plants because that's all I got. That's all I got. Jesus. But the thing is that my twins did more for me in my loss of them than I could have done for them in the past 10 years, to be very honest. And they'll be back, however they come back, and I'll be able to have a relationship with them in God's purpose, under God's way, however it is. That's the way I see it. Yeah. Even if I don't have kids. However, I'll be living in God's purpose.
Something that someone said to me, she's like my spiritual godmother, and she always wanted children and never had kids. And now she's like in her 50s. And, that's the one thing she always says to me, because we had connected because of my first miscarriage. And then when I had the second one, I leaned on her because she was like, it's okay. She was like, you see how God brought you into my life? Like, you're my spiritual daughter. She was like, I got a whole bunch of daughters. She said, I'm up here praying for one, and God sent me a whole tribe. And sometimes that's what we tend to forget. We think everything has to be in the natural. We have to be natural mothers. That's why, I always tell my friends, who have children and their children's fathers are not in their lives. And I'm like, that's why sometimes God sends that great stepfather, because that person who was there in the natural is not the person that's supposed to be there. And he's going to send that person, but we have to break part, heal from that bad relationship to allow that person. So I'm like, if God sends me someone and he has children and I become a great stepmom, I would appreciate that, because I'm not going to sit here and wallow and cry about, oh, I never had kids and why did he take? Because I know that first miscarriage, God was protecting me from his lies and all that the nonsense he was going to put me through. And then the second one, I don't know. That second one was just like, I'm just so confused about that whole situation. I mean, I know what happened. We know what happened. So it was like, I wasn't for all that. But, I wasn't looking at him like that. But I think about it and I'm just like, what? However this goes, I appreciate it. I got my niece. That's my baby. She acts just like me. So some days I'm like, did I even give birth to you? Because you act like me is a little scary. And I think that's how we have to look at it. It's not going to always be in the natural. God will deliver in a spiritual way, and we have to not hold on to what we want in the natural.
And that takes time. Yeah. That takes time. There are women out there who are still holding on to it. I'm going to include myself, not holding on, but hopeful for it and looking forward to it and those things. And it takes time. There comes a time when I feel like there's a lot of women come to a time when they're like, I'm okay. I didn't have the children and I'm okay. Nobody wants to hear that when you still want it, but it's true.
Yeah.
It is like, just part of it.
There's days I still want it. There's days that I'm like, but I know I know my missing piece, and it might be your missing piece too, is I don't have that person.
Correct.
So it's
and
like
you a whole husband. I don't need to be my boyfriend.
And so that's something that I just said to someone last week, and I said, they was like, "Oh, how come you don't have kids?" I said, "I don't have a husband." I was like, "So
why is that so foreign to people too?" They're like, "So you're not gonna have no kids unless you're married?" That's what that means.
But I desire to have.
That was an answer to your initial question.
So I desire now at this point moving forward, I would like to have my husband, and then I feel like when that happens, if God desires that we have children, then we will have children as husband and wife.
Correct.
Well, shade to anyone, like I said, but that's what I desire. That's what's placed on my heart, and it's hard for people to understand that. Just choose anybody, and I'm just like, well, I even had someone tell me, let's go to a sperm bank, and I'm just like,
hello, about 5 times a year.
I'm gonna pay for the sperm. That's a lot of money, and it's not cheap.
I mean, it's not ridiculous. That's people's way, because there are some people who decided that. That's fine.
Yeah.
First of all, I can't afford that. Okay.
I can't. Oh, wait, my student loan is set up. Yeah.
Correct. Live in New York City, rent is high.
Exactly. So I'm okay with the paying, but I know people that are doing that process, and I pray for them, and I pray that they get what they desire, but for me, this is what I'm waiting for. And I'm just praying I don't have to wait until I'm like 45, but God does things in His time, and Lord, have your way.
Listen, but I just want to know real quick, God, have you ever had sciatica? Because I'm gonna tell you something. I was 26 and I was pregnant with twins. It gave me sciatica and it hurt. And I am 36 now, and I'm gonna tell you that 10 years more with a baby and sciatica, just want to let you know it's a lot. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm just saying, please don't give me 10 more years. Don't let me wait 10 more years. I'm tired now. My body weary now. I'm tired. I need a nap all the time. And all I got is plants.
Look, I had to do a nap before this. I was like, let me just go. I'm going to lay down and take a nap before this. Let me put this timer on my watch so it could wake me up. And girl was like, oh, I feel refreshed.
I'm in the entrepreneurship call, a group, and I tell you, for a whole straight week, somebody brought up the word nap. And when I tell you, for a whole straight week, like 4 people kept talking about naps for the rest of that week. That nap must be good to grown folk, because they said, did you get your nap in yesterday? Y'all know I ain't take no naps. I took a nap. I gotta go to work. I gotta do other stuff. Come on. I took a nap yesterday. They all older than, well, they're not all that much older than us, but they was all a little older than us. Like, all right. But that nap.
I went to Albany this past weekend, and I was like, I went outside, and I just been walking, and I was like, what's time to go and something nap? And it was like 1 o'clock. And I went right in that hotel room, and I was like, just take me a nap. Girl, I woke up, it was dark. I was like, oh, I guess I ain't going back outside.
No, you went to sleep. You went to bed. You did not take a nap. You went to bed. What's missing with the pajamas?
Naps be saving lives, but we need them. Naps have purpose.
Full circle, y'all. Full circle. See? She's a speaker, y'all. You see? If you can't do that, you ain't no speaker.
T-shirts. Next week, watch. At Tanisha Shanee Instagram. Y'all can get y'all t-shirts. Watch.
Y'all better buy that t-shirt. Okay.
I'm doing it just because I'm doing it.
That is hilarious. All right, so we coming down towards the end of the podcast. We can sit here and laugh and joke all day. This is what we used to do back in school before I went to the store and never came back. So at the end of every podcast, I have a segment called Introvert Corner, because I'm a stark introvert, and I ask my guests questions that I might get some new perspective on from them, because they might try things that I would never try, and I'm not ashamed to not try them. I don't got to do everything, because my mama said I don't have to, and that's my business, as Tabitha Brown said. All right, so 3 introspective questions that I'm going to ask you. Are you an introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
I knew that, but I just want to make sure.
I don't want to speak. After I speak, I'm like, no, I need about 15 minutes to myself. Okay?
15 minutes? About 24 hours. 48. Hello.
They want to talk, and like I usually have like books there, so they want to. So I just need some time to be like, yeah.
Right. For me, I would probably speak and want to get it over. Like, come on, y'all. Let's sign these books because I got to. After this is the end of it. 2 more days. I don't want to talk to nobody. And you know what's so crazy? I remember you feel like you wrote poems.
Mm-hmm. I used to.
And you probably at one of the things for BSU, you read it in front of somebody, or you had for something. You read something in front of somebody. You were super duper nervous. So I know when you were talking about speaking and being like, "This is not my thing." I remember you being like, like, I don't want to do this. but you were always right. But you was always good at it. So you are where you are living your purpose for sure. So introvert corner, 3 questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Question number 1. Under what circumstances are you at your best?
I think when I am under pressure. I don't know why. I just always, I know that there's a deadline, I tend to produce better. It's like doing that paper that's due at 11 o'clock a.m. You might be knocking it out at 2 a.m. You're like, next thing you know, you're getting 8. You're like, man, I did that paper in 5 hours before it was due. So yeah.
I believe that it is when I know what I'm doing. Like when I have all the information, I could kill it. But if I have the inkling of like any, like I don't know how to do this, I can't do any of it. I don't. I can know 99%. If there's 1% is not connected for me, it's like I can't do this. So I got to know. Which is not
always good,
but hey, that's when I'm at my best. Okay, so number 2, how do you describe joy?
Joy to me comes from like the inside, me feeling good, me being at peace. That's my joy. And then also like being by the water, being within nature, some capacity. That's my joy, because I just feel like I'm just closer to God on so many different levels. So inside peace, nature, that's how I define joy.
That's good. How do I describe joy? Peace. Yeah. Joy is peace. For sure. That's the best place to be when you have peace. It's like, oh, good. All right. Number 3. What is your greatest power?
My words. Speaking. So speak. I think, because I actually asked my family, and like my mother and my sister first said my writing, but then everyone else was like, no, when you speak, it comes at a different level. I think speaking for me is my greatest power.
Yeah, I think for me, more so my greatest power is feel. I can feel my intuition, my ability to heal, help heal. Yeah. That's my greatest power.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, that's good. This is cool. All right, so we come to the end of the podcast, and I really, really thank you for joining me. I want the people to know what you have going on, where they can find you, if you have any new ventures coming up. You said you got the book. Do you have some links for sale?
So the book is actually available on Amazon. Dear Single in Love, 8 Principles for the Woman Waiting for Her God-Ordained Purpose Mate. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see my link tree, and it will take you to the link directly to purchase the book. I am, like I said, starting the first week of November, the week of election week, I'll be doing a special group to kind of like tackle these 8 principles, to talk about it, there's activities, reflection in this book. And, so it's a book that sometimes you got to face these hard truths about yourself and what you need to tackle. So that's something that's definitely happening. So if you follow me on social media, on Instagram, you will see that where you can sign up. It's free. You just got to buy the book so that we can read the book together. It's also available physical and ebook, so you don't have to buy the physical book. And then I also have my business that I started this year during quarantine, Purposeful Training and E-Learning Consulting. That is a company if you are looking to take any virtual courses, so Microsoft Office, QuickBooks, and then also I work with like faculty and colleges to help them with their online classes, course development, or just teaching them how to use the platforms, Blackboard, Canvas. So that's the other thing that I'm working on. And just, on my Facebook page, Tanisha, Heal Thy Body with Tanisha Shanee. That is the official page. And then on my regular Facebook page, Tanisha Shanee, you can follow. I do a lot of my Facebook Lives there. And I also have the links to my YouTube channel, which has a lot of my videos from Facebook. Just follow me, Tanisha Shanee. Instagram is really like the main place, and it filters to all of the other aspects. So thank you. But thank you for having me, Mo.
Yes. I am very, very thankful for the obedience. I always am. When people are living in their purpose, I'm very thankful of the obedience to God. Because if not, you'll be in it alone, and nobody wants to be in it alone. It's not good for man or woman to be alone. So I'm glad that you are living in your purpose.
That is on page. It really is. I just just reading it. It's confirmation. It's in the book.
That's the Lord. It always makes me feel good when people are. It makes me feel good when people are living in a purpose, because it really helps others who are living in their purpose to keep moving forward. And that's what this is all about, especially on this channel, especially on this podcast, especially in this lifestyle. So y'all remember to aspire big, inspire bigger, so you can inspire bigger. Living in your purpose is one of the most important things you'll ever do in your life, besides forgiving yourself and others around you. And y'all do that. Let's come out of victim mentality and be a victor. Be the best us that we can be.
All right.
In God's name. Amen. All right, Tanisha. Thank you. Y'all, I'll see y'all in the next one. Later, y'all.